No, we're live.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, no.
Bring back the whole.
You know, or you don't stay there.
So, yeah.
How are you?
Very bright.
No agenda, no meeting.
That's pretty much all I Welcome back.
Mary.
How are you? Ready. Prepare.
Water and sewer is up front. Drag from our community. You want me to stay on there at the end? Can I leave after water and sewer, or do you want me to stay till the end?
No, I don't think there's anything to do.
As long as it's not one. Want me to?
I'm gonna move Rob over here. But
You know more than I do.
No, I don't want to, I'm trying to minimize the shuffling, so even though I think he technically has a little bit more, more, I know, well, I don't know if I can. I think we're just gonna throw him in and call it.
Yeah. No, I'm waiting for one more. And then once
Well, look, I
I
didn't.
got my price. I reach back.
As soon as we get it, we'll have Wayne.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I also forwarded that on to the office.
I turned it on. It's really tough. As the thing goes, first you have to check and see if they're. Okay.
They, I mean, realistically, yeah. I don't, yeah, as long as we're working through it a bit, I don't see why they would. Yeah.
All right, it is 6:30 PM. I'd like to call to order the Village Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, August 3rd, 2026. Will the clerk give the roll call, please?
President Haramio,
Present.
trustee Bartholomew. Here. Trustee Newman,
Here.
trustee Wright,
Present.
trustee Russell,
Here.
trustee Franzen. Here.
Right, we do have a quorum this evening. At this time, I invite everyone present to please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Without objection from the trustees, Chair would request to move item 11, other items for discussion, consideration, or action up ahead in the agenda to right now. Is there objection from any trustees? All right. Hearing no objection, we'll now consider item 11, which is other items for discussion, consideration, or action. There's one item, item A, the appointments by the village president. We have the appointment of village trustee, filling the vacant trustee position for the remainder of 2-year terms in commissions and committees. Just really briefly, trustee George Block, who normally sits right here, and Chair of Effective Services Committee, turned in his letter of resignation on July 24th. So at this time, we will need to be appointing his replacement. The appointment that I have made as in my responsibility as village president is Colin Durkee for your consideration. He is available here in the audience if you have any questions, in a short bio. It's provided for him in the packet. Some highlights I do want to state is that he has run for trustee before here in the village, which is something I took the desire to serve the village, and past running for office is something I took under consideration when making this appointment. He's also highly involved in the Lions Club and the Lower County Literacy Council. Additionally, he is a trained lawyer with a law degree from the University of Pittsburgh, which should be very beneficial to this board when it comes to reading contracts and having eyes on documents. So for those reasons, I'm appointing Colin Durkee, or I'm presenting for your approval the appointment to the vacated village trustee position for Colin Durkee. He will be vacating a few of his roles if he is put into this, specifically his role on the Ethics Commission and on his role on the Land Use Committee, and additionally as his role as alternate on the Planning Commission. In the packet, you will see that to replace his position as alternate on the Planning Commission, I am nominating Connie Bluth. And any other positions that are vacated by trustee Block at this time will remain vacant until suitable candidates are found and presented for you by the next meeting. So with that, Chair will look for a motion, Chair will make a motion approving the appointments of village trustee, commissions, and committees. Is there a second on the motion?
Second, right?
All right, there's a first and a second on the motion approving the appointments as stated. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion on the motion?
I have some comments.
Yeah, trustee Evans, please.
Okay, so I don't want to throw everybody for a loop here. But I did call you on it, Adam, and I knew I was going to do this. We have a person here in our audience. His name is Mike O'Brien, who would like to present him to fill the position. And the reason is he moved to Williams Bay 2.5 years ago. He built a brand new home on Willow Bay Drive. Mike has been a trustee in Batavia for 12 years, trustee alderman. He represented the district of 6,000 people. He opted not to run again because he knew he was going to retire in Williams Bay. So it was not like he was not voted for again. Mike Batavia has their own treatment utility. They do their own treatment plant utility. They have their own water utility. They have their own electric utility. Mike chaired the Public Utilities Committee for 6 years. He was instrumental in the water utility during his time, $52 million renovation and upgrade of that. He also has a lot of experience with public housing. He worked closely with the police department. He was instrumental in designing, promoting, and presenting a streetscape plan in Batavia, which was awarded. There's basically, for those who know Batavia, on River Street and Dawson, was awarded all over the place. There was even an award from Poland. And so in his previous life, when he was working, he was a superintendent of a construction company. So I think that this board has accomplished a lot. In the last couple of years here, we have a lot to go. We have a building that is boarded up with one resident, one business still in there. I'm hoping he can make it. I think he has all the experience. And so no offense against Colin. So don't get it that way. You're on the planning commission. You have only been there twice that I know of, maybe a little bit more. I think the elections are coming up in the spring elections. I would like to see Mike in there and then give you time during the next 8 months to go to board meetings, any committee meetings that get you educated on how government works, and then you can hopefully run at that time. That would be my preference. So this is what I have to say. And if any trustees have any questions for Mike O'Brien, I ask the chair to allow those questions, please, if that's possible. I don't know if you want to do that, Adam, or not, but that's where I stand.
Does anyone else want to nominate their own candidates?
I do have a couple of questions.
Please.
So just, if you can explain, when the last time there was a vacancy was after the election where you were elected president and your position was vacant. And so you selected the next highest vote of the candidates. So is there a reason why that process is different this time?
I had selected the next highest vote getting candidate, yes. That's not the primary reason that I picked trustee Russell for that role. Primary reasons were actually the ones outlined for the reason I'm picking Colin. One, he had run for the position before and showed interest in the position. He actually had the position before. And two, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. One,
An attorney?
I disagree. Oh, and the relevant skills that they would bring to the table. So I have no doubt that Mike O'Brien has the skills that he's saying. He's definitely welcome to run for office. He hasn't run here before. He's saying that he's retired. So if he wants to run, he's definitely welcome to run.
And my second question is, for an understanding perspective, what was the reason behind not posting the position and going through that process and doing the recommendation instead?
We had a post in the last, Bay Quarterly asking anyone who's interested in any positions or appointments that they could reach out. I've only gotten, I think, 2 of those so far, and none of them, so. It has been advertised, but I know I'm not doing it this time. There's a number of important issues for the Traffic Services Committee, and I wanted to not go a meeting without a candidate, so he's here, and run up for the Services Committee meeting tonight.
So I'd like to point out, this is only like an 8-month term. This position needs to run again in the spring elections.
Yes.
Because it's like technically was up for a re-election then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? I guess I'll further defend my choice of Colin in that Trustee Block, with his leaving the board, I am now the only member of the board that has kids or grandkids in the school district. Colin would be a second member that has kids or grandkids, kids in this case, 2 young children, in the school district, which I also think is important. Tangentially related, or actually directly related to that, is I think it's more important to put a younger person that has a drive and works and lives in the village to get them started on a position here than it is to pull someone out of retirement in their 70s or 80s and have them block a younger person from getting the on-the-job training. So that's my take on it. I'll be supporting it, and I don't need to be here for other candidates tonight. So I will not be recognizing any others. Are there any other questions before we call the vote? All right.
I was just gonna say, no disrespect to Colin, I just don't know anything really about you, so I will be abstaining from the vote tonight because I don't have enough information of who to vote either way.
Okay. You call a roll call, please.
President Carmiel,
Aye.
trustee Bartholomew,
Yes.
trustee Humans,
No.
trustee Wright,
Aye.
trustee Russell,
Aye.
and trustee Franklin.
Abstain.
All right. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. So congratulations, Colin. Do you want to swear him in right now? I think we will.
If he's going to.
I think he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he will be.
Get a Bible here?
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Colin Dargy,
having been appointed to the office of village trustee,
having been appointed to the office of the village trustee,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of
and I
Wisconsin,
will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. All right, thank you.
They had two things.
All right. Welcome, Colin. With that, we will get back on the track for the agenda here, and we'll move to item 5, which is the approval of the minutes. We have a single set of minutes, village board meeting minutes of July 20th, 2026 that need to be considered. Chair would look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 20, 2026 meeting minutes as presented.
Second, Franzen?
There's a first and a second on the motion to approve the village board meeting minutes of July 20th. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
One abstain.
And we have one abstention from trustee Umans. That motion carries. We'll now move to item 6, public comments. There are not any responses to the questions or comments from the July 20th, 2026 meeting. Village Clerk Tina Coles has turned the microphones on at the meeting and confirmed after the meeting that there was a glitch with the streaming and the meeting was not recorded. We are live streaming now though, so no glitch tonight, thankfully. So with that, I open up to public comments. If you have a comment, please say your full name and your comment or question.
Hi, I'm John Morrow, 548 Westwell Drive. About a year ago or so, I appeared before the board and requested a pedestrian crosswalk sign down in Geneva Street by Bell Store. I'm thrilled and so are several of my neighbors that has been erected. But I thought it'd be appropriate for me to come here tonight to give a special thanks to Chief Tim and to our Public Works Director, Wayne Edwards, for the excellent job they did to make this happen. So thank you, board, for this. I think it's going to improve the safety of our village twofold. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morrow. You'll be next, no problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I forgot the order.
Whoever's ready, we have time for everyone.
Lisa from Clover Street. I just want to say thank you for fixing the owl camera and the sound system.
Hi, Connie Bluth, 95 Lackey. So I came in a little late, but I just want to remind all of us that we need to trust each other a little more than we often do. And whether you agree with Adam or you don't agree with Adam, he appointed someone to take the place of a village board member. And it's unfortunate that there's no cheat sheet on him, because once you do read it, I think you'll feel very proud to have him as part of the board. Yes, he is my son-in-law. So if you know Connie Bluth, you have to realize as a mother-in-law, he's probably already withdrawn a lot of questions and been very much a fair and trustworthy person to add to our family dynamics. I think it's important that we all trust each other enough, encourage each other enough, and support each other enough to get through the things in our village that are often challenging. I have a list of things I've done in the village, so if you want to know who I am, you certainly can look it up. And I hope moving forward, we can take step by step to allow ourselves to be the best that we can be. Rich is my husband, Rich Bluth. You can look up his credentials as well. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Colin or Adam or anybody up there would be very happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bluth. Any other comments at this time? There will be one more opportunity for public comments in a little bit here. We will press on with the agenda. Next, item 7, we have the presentation of accounts and petitions, and our illustrious Finance and Personnel Chair, Trustee Wright, will handle that, please.
Thank you, President Jaramillo. I present first for board approval the report of payroll ending 7/24/2026, the amount of $65,345.20.
Human second.
We have a first and a second on the motion to approve the payroll ending 07/24/2026. Is there any questions on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries.
And then secondly, I present for board approval the report of unpaids. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing here. In the amount of unpaid dated 7/31/2026, amount of $224,929.34.
Human second.
There's a first and a second on the motion to accept the accounts payable unpaid stated 07/31/2026. Are there any questions on the motion?
Just a question for Jennifer for further research. I saw we're making a payment on the water plant rehab, and it looked like it was being charged to depreciation instead of a capital expense, borrowed funds.
That's where the auditors have it going for now, going to now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the answer you said that's what the auditor suggested it be categorized under?
Correct.
All right. If there's no other questions, all in favor of the motion to approve the accounts payable unpaid, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries.
That's it for tonight, President Mayor.
All right, thank you, Trustee Wright. President's remarks. I have one that's not on the agenda. I just want to recognize Trustee George Block's service to the village. He worked for us for, I couldn't get a quite accurate number, but I think over 18 years is the number. Most of the time in the role of Protective Services Chair. Also lately, since I was on the board, he was also the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. For those in the know, that's one of the harder roles to have in the village because you basically have to say no to everyone for everything, and you don't get very many friends doing that. He was a formidable trustee. We disagreed on some stuff. We agreed on some stuff. Ultimately, he supported my run for president, and I supported his run for trustee. I think we were a good team, and I'm going to really miss him. I learned a lot from him. It was thanks to him that we kept pushing and we got those 2 extra police positions through by referendum. It was him and Chief Tim constantly bringing out the space needs that helped us get that taken care of here. He was chairing Protective Services when their EMS deal with Fontana was finalized, and he was here at the start of the process for the fire department. I think at the end, he did what was best for the village and what he felt was best for the village, and he ate his pride, and he decided he didn't want it to be hard or to disparage the village or anyone in it. And I think that takes a lot of courage to do that. So I thank him. I'm sorry that he had to resign, and I think we're all gonna miss him. So regardless of how it all happened, we're all gonna miss him. So thank you, George, if you're watching. I wish you the best of luck. No reason for me to do that. The one word again I want to hit is formidable. That's what he was. All right. With that, we're going to move to item 9 is our committee reports. We do have one, and that is for our Protective Services Committee Chair. And since he didn't have access to the agendas as they were, do you want us to read out? If you could just present the operator licenses, Colin. You're gonna read whether it's original, renewal, or temporary, and name.
Okay.
And then we'll have a motion to be made.
Alright, these are the list of the operator renewals. So the original renewal is for Caitlin Bierk, David Bach, Caitlin Bierk with Pier 290, David Bach, Williams Bay Lions Club, Kendra Knight, Williams Bay Lions Club, Douglas Knight, Williams Bay Lions Club, Grace Peterson, Williams Bay Lions Club, Samuel James Thorson, Williams Bay Lions Club, Sanan Asani, Williams Bay Lions Club, Stephen G. Stratton, Williams Bay Lions Club, Molly Sanders, Williams Bay Lions Club, Anna Cecile Sick, Williams Bay Lions Club, Thomas Walter Trico, Williams Bay Lions Club, and Carissa Marie Wright, Williams Bay Lions Club. I would like to submit a motion approving the original renewal operator license applications as submitted and included in the meeting board packet materials.
All right, we have a motion to approve the original renewal. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second, Brandon.
All right. There's a first and a second on the motion approving the original renewal and temporary operator license applications as presented. Any questions or comments on the motion?
To make it correct, only the first portion is original. Then we have 3 people that were renewals, and then the rest of them are temporary license for the quorum.
Yes, that's how they are in the packet.
And they are requesting a waiver.
Okay. I'm just remembering, for the waiver of the fees, do we build that in the motion? Because we didn't have it built, do you remember, is that what we did before, Dave?
You can include it as part of the motion or as a separate motion.
Yes, yeah, and we need a separate motion for that.
Okay. So we'll handle the one we have right now, we'll approve those. So all in favor of the motion approving the operator licenses as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The motion carries. And then there was a motion to waive the fees for all the temporary,
All except for the first.
the Lions Day, what is it, Lions Club? Okay. How do you want to form that motion? So it just,
Yeah.
we'll get you on board. Chair will make a motion waiving the, just because he didn't have the packet to work with, wait, he didn't have the access to it yet, so. Chair will make a motion waiving the, application fees for the renewal temporary licenses as applied by the Williams Bay Lions Club.
Second, Franzen.
All right, any questions or comments on the motion? It's just from memory, is this, we've waived these before? Yes. Yes, okay. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries.
I'm abstaining.
And we have one abstention from trustee Dirty. All right, thank you very much. With this, we'll move to this item 10. This is going to be the second and final opportunity for public comments this evening. So if you have a public comment, please share it right now with your full name. This will be the last opportunity this evening. Would you offer public comment? Oh, please, Mr. House.
Tim Hallis, 134 Elmhurst Court. I'm not sure where I begin now, but let me start with, I attended the Streets and Highway Community Forum and input onto the strategic downtown plan. And based on that, there was a comment by Jim Killian, I think I can say it was Jim, so it's public, that the board needed to solve the parking problem before you can even consider the downtown plan, okay, which I agree. And then secondly, you need to, you're talking about EMS and fire and everything like that. I think you need to totally scrap whatever plans that you have for the fire station and revisit where, how, what fire protection services is in the village of Williams Bay, and then also where does that fire station need to be located? Because it doesn't make sense to spend, I don't know the figure, but I've heard somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple $2 million on a building that is, what, 60 years old? I don't think anybody can tell me how old that building is. So does it make sense to put $2 million into a building that's 60 years old that can't even probably support any of the new equipment that we could possibly need in the village? So that's number one. Number two, based on the performance of Vanderwall at that meeting, my suggestion is that you do not renew their contract when they come up. It was underwhelming what they did, okay? And number three, or changing subjects, is I believe part of the question that Trustee Franzen was asking you, President Yaramil, was why was the board position not posted or made available for other people, you know, who might have had an interest? Okay, so when you got up there and said it was posted and it was in the Bay Quarterly, how could it have been posted in the Bay Quarterly if you just knew about it a week ago? So, nothing against Colin, because I don't know, because his public profile is very limited, okay? And the fact that there were no public comments before then, so I just think it's a travesty of justice, and the fact that he's got a nameplate. So and when you ask.
All right, you're over your 2 minutes, Mr. House, so
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you to sit down now. He has a nameplate because he served as an alternate on the plan commission. He has done for over a year. Position was posted. You can look it up. It doesn't say trustee. It says if you're interested in any position of the government. All right. Are there any other public comments at this time? All right. With that, we already did item 11, so Chair would look for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second, right.
All right, there's a first and a second on the motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. I'd now like to call to order the joint meeting of the Village Board, Committee of the Whole, and Committees of Monday, August 3rd, 2026. Roll call, clerk, give one roll call, please. Present.
Trustee Bartholomew. Here. Trustee Newman.
Here.
Trustee White.
Present.
Trustee Russell.
Here.
Trustee Franzen. Here. Trustee Stewart.
All right, we still have a quorum. We do have one set. Chair would look for a motion approving the joint Village Board Committee of the Whole and Committee meeting minutes of July 6th.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, there's a first.
Second.
There's a second on the motion from Trustee Russell. So there's a first and a second on the motion to approve the joint Village Board Committee of the Whole and Committee meeting minutes of July 6th. Are there any questions, corrections or corrections to the minutes or comments? Criticisms or critiques? All right. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That motion carries. All right. Just keeping everyone up to speed, for those that don't come to these regularly, we'll now go committee by committee. Each committee is composed of 3 of the trustees. The village president does not serve on any of these committees. So you'll see some people voting and some people not voting. That's because some of the people up here are on that committee that's meeting at that time. So with that, the first committee that's meeting this evening is going to be the Water and Sewer Committee, and that's chaired by Trustee Uman, please.
Okay, I'll call to order the Water and Sewer Committee. And so the members for the Water and Sewer are Trustee Russell and Bartholomew, and myself. First item on the agenda is item number C, and I'll read it. Discussion and possible action on bids for sanitary sewer replacement at Oakwood Street and Orchard Street. The project includes the replacement of sanitary sewer at 2 locations: Oakwood Street from Center Street south to mid-block and then west through existing easements to Orchard Street, and the lift station Fort Gravity sewer along the lakefront from just north of Gates Marine to the Bayshore Villas. I have an extra handout and I got some comments to make. The reason why the handout was not presented, I came back on Friday night from vacation and I didn't have time to submit. But either way, so I'll bring everybody up to speed. That the main point of discussion here tonight is the sewer line that goes along the lakefront, and everybody who ever walked to Pier 290 knows it's very wet down there. It's a very big deal. There's a lot of water infiltration on that one. And so we asked the engineer, Baxter and Guzman, Doug Schneider, to come up with a cost, spec that out. And his cost was $673,250 plus $288,750 for Baxter and Guzman. And that came to $1,250,000 to do all of this work. And then we waited because of the oil prices were going up, and we thought it would be better. Plus, this is not an ideal job to do to begin with in the spring or in the summer because of the wet conditions and all the tourists that are there. And so we put it out to bid, and we got the bid amount back. And the bid amount was $1,533,000, which does not include Baxter and Woodland cost. So this morning I called Doug Snyder, the trustees have this, it was not on the, and I asked him to revisit the $288,000 of his cost, because what that was loaded up with some contingencies. He redid the work, he redid that, and basically the design engineering and construction engineering came down to 94,800. And then we always put a contingency on it, so including the 5% contingency, that would be $171,000. So the total cost, projection cost is $1,705,000. So, but obviously that is $455,000 higher than what we were thinking it was gonna cost. If we take for the contingency is something we might not have to spend, so we take that out, we're basically $378,000 higher than what we were thinking that would cost. On the other hand, I would like to point out, because that was a topic of discussion, because of there's so much water down there, the Baxter and Woodman estimate included the dewatering cost of $200,000. We questioned him on it. He said he couldn't guarantee any of that. It would not be less than that, but it would be more. The estimate that we have gotten from Globe basically does not have a dewatering cost in there. So what they did is they loaded that cost into the linear foot price, and so it's $350 per linear foot, but actually it would be $574,000. So I have a handout here. Can I hand it out? Because so. No, this here. Huh? No, just you need to close it. Okay, so if you look at, this is my spreadsheet that I updated this morning. So basically, originally we borrowed $2.8 million. I actually, this morning, a check was submitted from Chodine to pay for their portion of the Harris Road lift station, $168,000. But basically, if you go to starting projects, 2024, 25, 26, I highlighted once I left the 288 and the 245, that is the 1,533,000. And then the engineering cost, including the $76,000 for contingency, is 71. So after we do this job, we will have $614,000 and $471 left over in borrowed funds on the sewer fund. So that's important to know, because in 2027, Walworth Avenue is going to be done. And so the projected cost for that, for the sewer part is about $330,000. But technically, we could do that and the elementary school project, which will be about $470,000. And we also had loaded in there already some engineering from the Station 5. After that, we're basically done spending the borrowed funds as we know it. But this will be through 2028. So I have a couple of questions for Doug. Can I do that now before we make a motion here? First of all, what is the timing on this?
They have 60 days from the time that I issue the notice to proceed to be substantially complete. They're requesting to do this in the middle of November, to start it in the middle of November, because they want the colder weather for when they want to do it. So they want to get in and get out of there in 60 days, but they don't want the notice to proceed until about the middle of November.
Okay. Second question. For the, you projected $24,000 to fix the landscaping part that happens to, restoration, the grass restoration.
Yep.
Okay, they put in $180,000. That seems like a lot to me.
It does seem like a lot.
Yeah, so is it possible that we accept this without $180,000 and bid that separately, or how does that work?
You can delete any line item that we want. We'll just tell them that you need to award it based on the bid, and I'll just, drop that pay item out so you never end up paying for it. So it'll wash out at the end of the project if you want to do your own restoration.
But then we have to go through a special bid since it's over $50,000. Well, most likely it will be over $50,000.
I would expect it would be over
Or
$50,000.
$25,000, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something to consider.
So it's something that you can consider even right before they start, if you wish, if you want to do your own restoration.
Yeah, that's what I thought we do. We take it out temporarily.
Yep.
We get bids on it, and if it comes in $100,000 less to do the restoration,
We'll
then
just
then
delete
then
it
we can
from
take
it.
it out.
We'll delete it from his contract. I'm sure you'll have no problem walking away without restoring anything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, are there any questions for Doug?
He's also working with us even right now to look at alternate ways of doing it because he has special people on his staff that have special sewer rehab ability.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to lower the cost even through construction because he doesn't wanna disturb everything by digging everything up.
Right, well, also the tree things, how many trees are we removing?
$150,000 worth. I can't force his bid. You can take the,
Okay, my point is, if he takes down 5 trees, are we still gonna we get charged that amount?
no, if he doesn't have to do any tree removal, he doesn't get paid for the pay item.
Okay, okay, so it can still go down then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So then maybe what the best way, Doug, is to make a motion to approve the $1,533,000.
That's what I'm gonna ask you to do. You have the right contractor.
Yeah.
For this job.
Okay, so then there's an option to delay this. However, if we delay it to the spring is not an ideal time because it's so soaking wet down there. And the spring, the delay would be next year at this time.
There
Or
were
next
5
year.
contractors that looked at this and only one that decided to bid.
Right, exactly, because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, are there any questions here from the committee first?
At least one, maybe two. So the $1,705,000 includes Baxter Williams engineering fees. Then you were talking about dewatering. It does not include dewatering.
The watering is built into the per linear foot cost.
We did not take a pay item for dewatering, like I put a pay item or a estimate for dewatering in my original estimate. When it came time to bid it, we included dewatering in all the line item costs. So your per foot for your sewer is paying for dewatering.
Okay.
Is actually where it should be.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
actually that is better.
Okay, all right. And then, Rob, when you talk about the pending future projects, I would assume these were estimated a while ago. Wouldn't you anticipate to see some significant
Well, I
increases?
have been updating it as we get new numbers, they keep changing. Actually, the Wallworth, I still have 329, I believe it's a little bit more now, the latest number, but not, it's not too much more.
Okay.
Yeah, the CIP only includes 311 for that project.
Yeah, 311, so he has another number that's even higher than the CIP.
And the CIP only included $1,250,000.
Right, right.
So we're gonna have to revise the CIP.
Yeah, the minute he gets the, right now it's an estimate, so.
Well, this,
Any questions, Mary?
Well,
This
see,
is an
tree
estimate.
removal is 25,000, lump sum tree
Yeah,
removal,
what he's saying is if no trees are removed, he doesn't spend it.
but I think that that's a reasonable sum. I mean, if you've got 5 or 10 trees, that seems like a reasonable amount of money. And I'm assuming that not only removing, but replacing.
It's a big expense and it's also a very, big project. And it's also, we got the next item on the agenda talks about water infiltration. So we'll cover that in a little bit.
So, what kind of say, when it says tree removal, does it also mean replacement?
It does not mean replacement.
So that's gonna be the homeowners that are going to do
Well,
the.
first of all, we don't want trees in our easements.
All right.
Okay, and if there are no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the, Globe amount of, contract for $1,533,333,000. I'll make that motion to finance, recommendation to finance to approve.
I'll second it.
First and second.
It just, it's $1,533,333.
Yeah, right. Okay, first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. So it goes to finance. Okay. Next item on the list is discussion and possible action to increase village sewer connection fees for new homes from $5,100 to $5,610. Okay. That one, you did get a, attachment here. It looks like this. This is how my spreadsheet works, and so we'll give a little quick update for the audience. The sewer budget for the year is $1,550,000, of which Welcomet, the expense that we paid at Welcomet right now is $840,000. So it's by far the single largest item. So they had a cost increase in 2024 from in 25. We thought in 25 we were gonna have to pay $66,000 more. However, that didn't play out exactly that way. So we thought and we missed that amount. So in 2025, instead of we raised the budget to $840,000, and it came in for $809,000. So we keep track of this every month, and so, so far in 2025, now in 2020, the end of 2025 for 2026, we did not get a letter from Welcomet that there was a cost increase. There was one that was posted on the website, and they did it a little different. It was done on volume, because basically the cost for, that is the highest cost that we pay out of the $840,000. And so I keep track of every month of how we are faring between 2025 actuals and 2026 actuals. And you can see it on that line, the difference. And you notice quickly on what happened when we had a wet month in April. It was very wet. It came in $33,000 more. The cost in April was $96,000 that we paid Welcomet, but it was $33,000 more than last year in the same month. The rest of the months we averaged about $5,000 more, so we're well on our way to for that. If everything, all the rest of the year is the same weather-wise, we will still come up with $900,000. So somehow I gotta plug that hole, and I don't wanna do a rate increase. So I figured the connection fees, we have added since 2021, we added $500 for the village. I'm over on the amount that Welcomet charges, so I figured we add $1,000, an extra $500, which is basically something that the builder passes on to the homeowner, new homeowner, people that build a new house. And so it kind of disappears in the mortgage, 30-year mortgage. It's a very minor expense, and will probably give us with all the new construction coming up in the remainder of 2026 and 27, probably at least $40,000 extra, something like that. And so I'm gonna make a motion to, does it have to finance too? Does that have to go to finance? No, right? Maybe it does. I'll make a motion to finance to approve the increase from $5,100 to $56,000 for the connection, Vulcan connection.
You say we can go to finance or to the village board?
I think it goes in, it's on the village board.
Which is just right.
Is it on your agenda? Oh, okay, I'll make it to the village board, it's not on finance.
I'll second that.
You second, first and second, any questions? No? Okay.
I was thinking of one.
You're thinking about something, Steve?
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, with the way costs are and everything else, building costs are. I mean, I understand what you're trying to achieve, but it just seems like a big increase from the 51, $510 increase just seems a little large to me. Did you compare this to any other villages or what they charge?
No, but I was thinking about Lake Geneva, that's all, we have 10 different impact fees, one for the library, one for everything. We only have one, and it's $32.50, this is dirt cheap, so there's really no addition. Building a house in Bowman's Bay, as far as that is concerned, is still very cheap. No? Okay, so, all in favor, please say aye. Aye, so those two do. Okay, last one, Doug, are you ready for the engineer's report? The last item is the village engineer's report.
Okay, I do have a 2-page handout in your packet. I'm just gonna cover the ones that are moving, but you're welcome to ask me questions about any of them. First one's the Lomer for the water plant, the floodplain revision. Sewer PAC actually obtained approval from the state in this last month, so it should be on its way for a public hearing and for final approval from FEMA. Second one is Park Place CSM. Jack Pease has Park Place ripped up right now. He put in a new water main. He's yet to restore the pavement. He gave me an update this week that he's planning to do that on August 17th when he paves his own driveway for that house that he has built. Next is Preserve Development, which is the former George Williams College. I got a call today from their engineer saying that he plans to have a submittal to us in the next 2 weeks. Again, I don't believe that you'll need any village action on bids until November. On the second page, the former elementary school. Again, I talked to Jack Pease, who's the developer. He plans to have the buildings completely removed in the next 2 weeks. He noted that he's waiting for plans from his engineer for stormwater review before he goes to planning commission. He wants to be able to verify that he can infiltrate that water so that he doesn't have to build big ponds. The next step for him is planning commission. Willow Bay Meadows, you should see a lot of work out there, which is on the east side or northeast side of the village. Developer Shodine, the utility contractor is Wanasek. The grading contractor is New Berlin Grading. They plan to begin earthwork yet this week, and actually they're mowing the grass right now so that they can start earthwork. They've got all the utility companies out there marking all the utilities. I think they'll be moving dirt by this weekend. They plan to begin utility construction early in September, and he plans to have the binder down yet this year so that he can build houses over there.
The binder is the first.
It's the lower layer of asphalt. And Bailey Estates, I would expect to have a letter of credit reduction in the next 60 days. And that's all I have unless somebody has any questions.
About the utility lines along West Geneva Street, especially downtown. Have you gotten any information from Alliant regarding that?
Nope, because Alliant won't make a decision until the 60% plans are available. They just won't make a decision because they're not forced to. We've tried to meet with Alliant, we've gotten no action in the past. The state does have an engineer on board now, so now might be a good time to ask the very same question that we asked before. But they don't need to make a decision, Alliant does not need to make a decision about that until the 60% set plans.
As we discussed that last month, and you were gonna contact the newly hired engineer about that.
Correct. And there has been correspondence with the engineer, but they're not to that point yet. We're still trying to dig the preliminary survey information from them. So they're just doing the preliminary survey right now. They're marking, they're having the field survey. I'm guessing in 30 more days we'll have an answer.
That would be great. Thank you.
I'll at least get a meeting with the engineer.
Are there any other questions for Doug? No?
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
First and a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we adjourn.
Thank you, trustee Umens. The next committee will be our Streets and Highways Committee, and that's chaired by trustee Bartholomew, please.
Thank you, President Maravilla. I call to order the Streets and Highway Committee and note that myself, trustees Franzen and Wright are all in attendance. We have several items on our agenda for tonight. First is a request from the triathlon, the Mount Turner Triathlon, to close Lakeshore Drive during their event on September 12th, and would also mean including an officer on site. Is there any concerns about that? I can just make a motion recommending approval of temporary closure of North Lakeshore Drive during the Fontana Triathlon on September 12th, 2026, including a police officer on site.
Who's officer and who's paying for it?
It's our officer.
It is our officer, and we do request payment from the triathlon to be reimbursed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I had a couple questions. What is the time frame that it will be closed?
During the event, so it's kind of hard to say because some people are fast and some people aren't. But generally speaking, you've done this in previous years.
Yep, the previous years, we've closed off the road from 7 to noon roughly, or 1 o'clock. And then the officer's only there, I think last year at least, and I would have to meet with the chief again from Fontana, but I think last year it was 10 to 1, so that, because this portion isn't right away, but we want to make sure the cars are cleared off beforehand and proper notice is given.
I think last year there was bad weather as well, so I think that, yeah, they ended.
Last year,
And it's hard to tell from this map, so is North Lakeshore Drive the only street that's being closed? That they'll be running on?
Looks like it.
Yeah, it's the main street, so otherwise it'd be on the sidewalk on Western Main Street. And then otherwise it's just back roads, Park Place. And,
Yep, right.
Anything else? I made a motion, is there a second?
Second, right?
First and a second, time to take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes, and we'll go on to the village board later tonight. The second item is discussion and possible action on a proposal for an environmental assessment of the village-owned parcels down by the Horvath building in the Horseshoe parking lot. WWUP 00048 is the Horvath property, and WWUP 00049 is the Horseshoe lot. Located along the village pathway between Elkhorn Road and the Horseshoe parking lot. This is regarding the Wisconsin Department of Economic Development Vibrant Spaces Grant. So we had a representative come from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and just, they call it the giggle test, you know, look at this, do you think it makes any sense? What are our chances of getting approval for this? And he thought we had a good chance. He looked at it and said, I think if you get environmental assessment report done, that would be the first thing we need to do. Just so you know, the Vibrant Spaces grant has not been competitive the last several years, so we would have a good chance of getting our grant money if we get a proposal together. It is 3-to-1, so the state will pay for 3/4 of the project, and we would just have to cover 1/4 of it. And the idea behind it too is to not have the village putting that money up, but is to get community involvement, civic organizations involved and businesses involved in helping us pay for it. So it's not just a thing that the village would be required to be spending money on. But again, this is just the first step. It's a longer process. The application is usually due on February 1st of next year. And I also feel that because we are working with Vanderwall regarding a downtown plan, that it might be appropriate to wait to see what they come back with before we go forward with this. But what we asked our engineer to do was to come up with a proposal, a cost proposal. So now we have those in the packet, so you guys can see.
I have two concerns, Mary.
Yeah.
One, as I have read through the Vibrant Spaces grant material, it requires there be a plan. We don't have a plan.
No.
So it seems to me that we have our horse well before the cart in terms of doing the environmental assessment before we even have a plan, because we can't submit for a grant application. Secondly, it's a completely unbudgeted fund for which we have no money.
Right, so that's one reason I was kind of hoping to get it into this next budget cycle, so we could talk about it.
We can
Again,
try
it
that.
was, like I said, you read it, you can see how much they're emphasizing that you get civic involvement and community involvement, so it's not expected that the village would be paying for the whole project. And again, the money is good, I think it's $50,000, between, most of the grant monies are between $25,000 and $50,000, so it's not a big plan. And again, that's what they'd be paying, so you figure we'd be paying, for our community, would be putting forward, say, $15,000, and they would be matching with $45,000, so we could say a $60,000 project in that way. So it's just an exciting idea, and it's money that's sitting there, and we do have a need. So I think I heard Mr. Hallis talking about the parking, and we do have quite a bit of parking back in that area. And when you look at the comprehensive plan, that's one of the key things they keep talking about, is how can we connect the lakefront, Kish, and our downtown commercial area together. And when you look at a map of our downtown, this is just the heart of it. It really seems like a strategically accessible place to be putting some parking and to be making a nice avenue for people to be able to get to and from. So it's just a thought, and this was the first step that we were told to do before we put a plan together. So that's why I followed through with it, and I thank the engineer for getting us this far. So, but I understand. I know it's a big unknown, and we don't have a plan together. But I think we could easily get one together. I think we all have visions, but we are working with Vanderwall. So part of it too, in my mind, was to let them know that we're really serious about this. When you look at the comprehensive plan, it's one of the things that's mentioned in the economic development chapter, is this idea of using the resources from the state. And so I'm stepping up and I'm helping let them know that we're serious about this, and we're listening to what they have provided for us in the comprehensive plan.
And I have no doubt that one, this is probably a good idea, and two, it would be great to get some public money. I just question the timing, and can we put the expenditure off potentially until next year's budget, if we can make it fit that.
So I believe that the proposals are good for 120 days. So, we have 4 months from now in terms of, accepting this proposal or not. So, but yeah, that's why we're bringing it up. And we could, I think we have 3 possibilities. We can just say, no, we're not interested, we've got it this time. Or we can say, let's put it off until the budget cycle is completed. Or we could say, let's put it off until after we see what the downtown development strategies are that Vanderwall comes back with. So, those would be, again, or we could just say no entirely, So I feel like we're at that point right now where we put this, but, this, now we know how much it's gonna cost, and that's, further than we were a month ago. So,
What's the order of things? I mean, you said this is the first step before we could put together a plan, so the environmental study would have to be done to let us know whether or not that property is even viable for development, right? Okay. Yep. But we could postpone this for a bit.
We do, it says 120 days that the proposal is good for.
I'm not on your committee, but the fact that we will know by the middle of September.
Yeah.
When we are right in the middle of all the finance.
So we could just table this for now and decide to come back to it, in October or in November. I'll look for a motion from my committee.
I move that we table this consideration until we see whether it fits in next year's budget.
Second, Franzen.
Thank you. All in favor? I guess we'll say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I think that we're getting close. We're getting closer, we're spiraling over, So our third thing is to discuss a few different traffic calming and sign issues. The first one is discussion and possible action on a request to install stop signs on Conference Point Road at Leafty. Leafty already has stop signs, so going north and south on Leafty, no, east and west on Leafty, there's already stop signs there. So it would just be Conference Point Road that we would be adding. And in speaking to village staff members last week, I think the general consensus was that this would be something that maybe that sewer pack, which should be asked to analyze for us. There is a lot of traffic going down Conference Point Road. It would mean doing some, putting up some more signs just in terms of new, stop signs and things like that. And it would be probably nice to have another authority, an engineering firm that could weigh in on this and maybe assuage some people's concerns, in that way. So I'm going to put a motion that we recommend request to have sewer pack study the addition of stop signs on Conference Point Road at Leafy Drive to create a four-way stop.
Second, right?
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes, so we will go to sewer pack with that. Does that need to go to the village board first, or can we just send it right from our committee?
Typically, you're a recommending body, so it should go to the board.
Okay.
Final decision, even though
Okay,
there's not going to be any money.
So that would be on the 17th, then we bring it up to the board. Okay, thank you. Let's see, next is similarly, so William Street is the one that goes on the west side of the library, as we all know. And Elm Street comes up and is a T intersection at the top of Elm Street with William Street. And there's a lot more traffic on Elm Street now because with Green Grocer, there's people parking on Elm Street that are going up the hill and needing to exit. And there's a lot of traffic from Pier 290 that's using that as a way to transport trailers. And there's no stop sign at any of those at that intersection at all. And so it might just, again, it's just a way to calm traffic and to just get people to know whose responsibility it is to stop there when we get in a situation with multi-vehicles. And again, talking to village staff on this, it seems like we probably don't need to go to sewer pack with this one. In that it's just sort of it's just a three-way intersection and it doesn't get as much traffic as like say Conference Point Road does.
We'll just be putting a stop sign on Elm Street?
Correct.
Yeah, that was my question, because I was trying to figure out where it would go on the north or the west side of.
Yeah, just at the top of on Elm Street.
Just at Elm Street coming out.
Yeah, coming up.
Can I ask the chief opinion?
Please. I agree that there should be something correct there. It should be a controlled intersection at some level. I think Elm Street makes the most sense. If we're coming from West Geneva down Williams and turning onto Elm Street, especially with Gage and the trailers, I would hate to have a backup there and pushing into West Geneva Street or have some issues there. I do believe Elm Street, it does make sense. when they're coming up Elm Street, that you're reaching a T intersection, that there should be the appropriate control.
Seems the logic would say you're gonna stop there.
Correct, yeah.
I think part of the challenge is that when the trailers are coming on, William Street and they're turning left on Elm, they're cutting that tight. So if there's a car there or there's a car coming up to that, they're making those really tight left turns on Elm. And so I think that's a potential safety hazard. So maybe having a stop there would signal to them when they come down William Street that they need to do that wider turn so that they're not cutting into that lane.
I would have to think about that more.
While it may make logical sense what you're all talking about, in order to install a stop sign, it really needs to have that engineering study to either support it or not support it. There's specific standards, engineering standards for the installation of stop signs. And if you don't follow those and you just install a stop sign, you're exposing the village to potential liability for a stop sign that has not been warranted.
Thank you.
So does that mean we should request a sewer pack study of the
Yes.
stop sign?
All right, so I'll make a motion recommending approval of the installation of the stop sign at the P1 intersection where Elm Street ends at William Street, and asking analysis by sewer pack.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
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 That passes. Thank you, everyone. And then the final thing, I know that says that there's 2 more items for us, but I'm just gonna skip ahead and do a little foreshadowing. Item H is actually not in the Streets and Highway Committee. The library is under the purview of Parks and Lakefront. So, Trustee Russell, you'll get a chance.
If you'd like.
So I'm gonna back up, and then our last item that we'll be talking about tonight then is something, and I had to kind of laugh when I saw it, but, so back in 2004, when we had the TESCA, streetscape plan prepared, for the village, it's one of the things that they recommended. What would that be, 22 years ago, to paint lines on Elkhorn Road in the Central Business District and along West Geneva Street in the Central Business District. And it was something that was brought up to me by one of the business owners in our downtown, saying that it would really help provide more efficient spacing of vehicles. And we could probably encourage people to park there, because I'm not sure people realize that they can park out there, because there's nobody that ever parks there. So it would just be a way to kind of make people more aware of it. And I was in Walworth, on Highway 67 in Walworth, and I know that there they have marks on the road. So it seems like the state should not be opposed to it, given that they have them in Walworth on Highway 67. So anyways, I'm just bringing it to the committee, asking what you all think about that. And if you think that we should move forward, asking the state to contribute to that process, I guess would be the next thing.
I think anything we could do to improve parking efficiency is a good idea.
I think
That's your mandate, yeah.
I'm asking the state for support with that. I'm curious, so on Geneva Street, how is that going to be impacted by the changes that the state is already planning for Geneva Street?
I think that it would probably just be
Done at that
done
time?
over, or it could just be redone again in 25 years when they do the repaving. But yeah, I think for the time being, it would be a way to, get more efficient parking downtown.
It's a question, the issues come up before, and matter of fact, I experienced it personally. Coming south on Elkhorn Road and turning left on Geneva Street, not invariably, but many times a car will squeeze in between me and the right curb, and I can't see traffic coming down the hill. So in the course of lining off these parking spaces, is it possible they could put down some restriction to make that a 1-lane street there?
I believe that was the plan. Wayne, you can correct me on this, but And I don't know, because I wasn't on the board when Elkhorn Road was redone, but there's very little paint anywhere on Elkhorn Road. After.
Probably an extra cost.
But yeah, you were saying that that was the idea, I believe, right? To make it so that it was narrower there, so people were just forced into a single lane.
Possibly with some paint. It's gotta be wide for the semis to make the turns, you know, that's
Right.
the reason that it's so wide.
Well, and two, we have asked for that intersection to be studied, so, so the DOT will be doing it along with their, reconstruction of Western Union Street, and we've also asked Sewer Pack to, investigate that intersection.
Thank you.
So, you know, we could hold off and not put the lane, the parking lane marks on that, you know, in front of that building at that end, and we could just kind of go further.
No, I
north.
appreciate it when somebody parks there, because somebody can't pull up on my right side at that point in time.
But that's what we need the DOT to be involved for the purpose of the semis and, you know, within, larger vehicles that need to make that curve. Or maybe it would just discourage semis from driving through there. That would be okay too. So I think, for us for tonight, it would just be a matter of, recommending approval for this and then asking staff to assist us with the DOT and things, so. I'm going to make a motion recommending approval of painting, parking stall lines in the central business district along Elkhorn Road and West Geneva Street, and asking the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for their approval.
Second, Franzen.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that motion passes. So thanks, yeah, I think we're good. So the last thing is that no exit sign onto West Geneva Street from the library, and I will leave that for another committee to take up at another date. So I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second, right?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
All right, thank you, trustee Bartholomew. The next committee up this evening is going to be our Building, Zoning, and Ordinance Committee, and that's chaired by trustee Franzen.
Thank you, President Armia. Calling to order the Building, Zoning, and Ordinance Committee with trustees Franzen, Russell, and Doody attending. We have 3 items tonight. So the first item is discussion of possible action on behavioral parking restrictions ordinance. And so I want this to be discussion. I do not intend to take any action this evening on it, but wanted to again gather a little bit more information. So the reason that this parking code of ordinances is being created is because our behavioral parking, where to park, parking restrictions, all of that were scattered across multiple ordinances. And we obviously recognize that our village has changed. We have a lot more need for parking. We have a lot of compression in the downtown area between resident and residential parking, and then employee parking and visitor parking. And so what I've done is take all of the code across all of those ordinances and consolidated it into one, and try to keep the most current regulations in here. The other intention of this was to not have to come back and update an ordinance every time we wanted to make a change. In the prior ordinances, there was a lot of references to specific streets. So this ordinance is structured more so that when the village board decides to put signage up about parking, that becomes it becomes incorporated into the ordinance through signage, and we can track that through resolution. The police department is preparing a list of all posted regulations for consideration of what already exists today that would be part of this ordinance as well. So we did remove the coin parking meter reference because obviously it's outdated. Chief Tim has reviewed this, and we've discussed this as well. Primarily the big changes, most of the ordinances were just transferred here from other ordinances, but the big changes were, we added section D for residential and removed references to College Street and the old school. And then we had a section, revised section DE to talk about trailers and oversized vehicles. And the reason that I didn't want to move this forward tonight is that I wanted to have more time to talk about travel and oversized vehicle restrictions. So what we pulled for boat trailer parking restrictions was similar to what other communities have done to reduce parking of boat trailers on residential streets. So we have a lot of concerns by residents in the downtown area about people parking their boat trailers. The challenge is, I think, Steve, you mentioned earlier that this might have an impact,
It would definitely.
a potential negative impact to boat launch.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk through that. And then the other thing that I wanted for us to discuss, and kind of bring Colin you up to speed on this, is that I don't want an ordinance that is meant to address boat launch overflow parking that has a negative impact on residents being able to park their boats and trailers in front of their homes to, for whatever purposes. So trying to balance those two things out. So I wanted to just open up the discussion to see if we can come up with some better language for boat trailer parkings or any other aspects of this before we move to start finalizing it.
Well, I basically wrote comments on the impact that this would have, and I didn't rewrite these in any way.
Okay.
So I think I would need some time to do that. But in the past, in the Parks and Lakefront Committee, I've tried to address the congestion at Geneva Street by new staging areas or by restricting parking on certain streets that are close to the boat launch. They're not necessarily residential streets. There's North Walworth from Stark down to Cherry, a lot of that, or Town, I think that a lot of that is commercial and some apartment, which you could maybe still leave some of that as offsite parking. But I think we should rewrite this.
Okay.
And if you give me a week or two, I'll give you some ideas on that.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay. And then, you want the other comment?
Well, yes.
Or you want just a regular?
If you've got other comments that we can talk about tonight, otherwise, if you want to send them to me, we can incorporate those into a revision.
Well, I think personally, I believe the $25 forfeiture is too low.
That was in the original.
I know, it's in the original. I think it should be higher.
Okay.
I think you need to define what an official sign is, so that residents just don't put signs up as they,
I thought it was defined that the chief.
I didn't see
police was
anything
the
in
only
here.
one who
I
was
looked.
able to put up an official sign.
Yeah.
I thought I saw that in there, but.
I didn't see it. I kind of went through it a couple of times. And I don't know about private lots, if you want to add anything, if they have the right to post towing. If there's anything specific that has to be said about towing cars out of a private parking lot.
I'm gonna go get it, yeah.
Because I think there's some state requirement on that. And then the employee parking restrictions. So I had an issue with this as far as, is it really legal and enforceable? I'm a resident of Williams Bay. I work at a downtown business. I drive down there and I park on the street. You tell me I can't park on Tollwood Street because I just work down here? What if I'm not going to work there and I just want to park down there? Right. To me, that just seems like an unenforceable use of a public roadway. I think employers should find ways to find parking locations. And I think a reasonable employer doesn't want his employees parking out in front of his place of business and taking up, parking spots for customers. But I don't know if that's really an enforceable code. I think that was going to be my comment. But I'll write something on the boat launch parking.
Okay.
Or boat and trailer parking.
Yeah, those were the two things that I wanted to make sure we get right, and I appreciate those additional comments. And if you have a chance in the next week or so.
Feel free to send to me.
Yeah, we'll get you the back agendas. We don't have a tablet for you even yet. If I may, Trustee Franzen?
Yes.
If I may, I just want to say that I'm really excited about this work. The part where we can put a sign down and we can change the laws there without having to rewrite all the ordinances. that's what I'm really most excited about this. There's a couple street names still in here.
Walworth is still.
We have the 1D3, you got the parking on Walworth. I'm only just mentioning that because I know Plan Commission discussions and Facebook discussions about that intersection.
Right.
That could be something that changes in the future. And we shouldn't lock ourselves into the angled or whatever part, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Um,
I can pull that out too.
And then that was basically my only, and then the boat trailer parking, I'm kind of on the side of C on that one, is that rather than banning it from roads in the ordinance, we should stick to that sign structure, which is the strength of this ordinance. That way we can start kind of doing experimentally, like we're just gonna not do an Elkhorn Star or whatever. I'm not naming any streets now, but we could, potentially put them where we need them and then move them if we need to without having to convene multiple committee meetings, so. But I just wanted to give positive feedback that I love where this is going. So thank you for that.
It's a first attempt.
Well, no, it's pretty extensive, so I think it's really good.
I just wanted to add one other type of parking, might be for compact cars only. Especially people have been mentioning it to me on North Walworth, on the south side of Geneva Street, by the green grocer there. That those angled parking, sometimes it was actually one of the owners of one of the businesses in that building that suggested compact parking only on that side.
And we could probably do that with signage versus having something in
Yeah,
there.
I just wasn't sure if you wanted to include it what does that mean exactly?
Great. Thank you. That's all good feedback. I appreciate it. All right. The next item on our agenda is discussion possible action on an ordinance repealing and recreating 345-10 of the Village Code concerning penalties for vehicle and traffic violations. The proposed changes reference the penalty amounts established in the state of Wisconsin Uniform State Traffic Deposit Schedule to be the same as the Walworth County fee structure. So Chief Tim approached me about this several months ago to match the Williams Bay fee structure with the county structure. And so Chief, if you want to talk a little bit about what benefit this does for your officers and for the village.
I appreciate that. Currently, and for the past, since I've been here, our fee structure has not changed at all for traffic violations. It has remained the same. Where that gets confusing is now the Wisconsin Uniform Traffic Violations and fee schedule have changed over the past several years. And our computer systems can't keep up. So now currently, if an officer is writing a citation, they have to put in the Williams Bay court, find out what that fee is, and then recreate another citation in the Walworth County Court because we switched court systems. And so now to make it streamlined and to ensure that the appropriate fee structure is followed, going to this would streamline not only the process, but it would keep us up to date with our surrounding jurisdictions on our fee schedule.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? So I move to recommend approval of an ordinance repealing and recreating 345-10 of the Village Code concerning penalties for vehicle and traffic violations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that moves forward consideration for first reading of the village board on August 17th. Okay. And our last item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on ordinance establishing village regulations on food trucks. So again, I don't want to take action on this tonight, but I did want to have a discussion. We are seeing more and more mobile food establishments in the village and parking in private lots, parking in public areas, at events where the people are using Edgewater Park and so on, and we've got no way to ensure safety, that they passed all state requirements for through the Department of Agriculture, the health certificates, things like that. So this was on our priority list in conversations with our code enforcement officer, zoning administrator, and we asked the village attorney to create a draft, which is what is in the packet tonight. My concern with the draft is that it is caters mostly towards vendor trucks, and the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture indicates mobile food establishments are vehicles, interstate railway cars, push carts, trailers, or boats from which food is sold or served. And they have a whole list of requirements. So what I wanted to do is see, does this particular ordinance as drafted right now go far enough? Do we want to adjust it to be mobile food establishments and then tie it into, rather than having all of the requirements in our code, tie it into what the state code has? I don't think that was in the packet.
No, I know, but I didn't even go to it. But I agree, I think it has to be all methods of food delivery, mobile food delivery. And that was one of the first things I noticed when I started to read this. I think this is good. Do you want a couple of comments on this one?
Yes, please.
All right, so under section 327-8B, a motorized vendor truck or mobile, whatever, can set about and operate in the public streets, but not in the travel lane. Do we really want a truck that has a license just coming into town and parking on the street?
No,
Selling?
no, they would need to have the license.
Right,
Yeah.
but if they have a license,
Right, even if they have a license.
I don't see how you would want to just let them. I think there needs to be, the license I agree with, but maybe more focus on some permitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should actually be 328.
I think also we should have the right to limit the number of licenses we want to give out. I think we have to address owner-owned mobile food establishments, parking in their own driveways and conducting business from a residential area. I know of a couple that are doing that. And then how do we enforce this? Well, there's just a few of them. I mean, I think this is an excellent approach to controlling them, but I think it has to be still permit-based even with the license. I think
You distinguish between a permit from the village and a license from the state.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You gotta have a license so that we know that you passed all
Yeah.
that you have insurance, that you passed all the health inspections, that, that's not something that the village is able to do.
Right.
But at the same time, I think if you want to, there should be a permitting process for it, or you're gonna have events going on at the Lions Fieldhouse, and you're gonna have 2 food trucks parked in front of it. And in the past, we've tried to control it, that they're not just selling to anybody and everybody.
Well, in the past, there's been a tradition that we only allowed food, so to speak, food trucks that were owned by businesses in the village, so that we didn't bring in competition.
Yeah, that's an issue. I forgot to write that one down.
Would we want to carve out for, say, like an ice cream truck that's just driving through and not stopping at a particular location? I know that I've seen them occasionally. I don't know what we have currently on that, but I would think we would want, an ice cream truck to be able to drive through without making the permanent stop.
It says that no electrical or mechanical sound generated within a vending area should be audible beyond the vendor's immediate working area.
How do you know the ice cream trucks? It's the heart of summer.
Got a problem.
Well, and then I think the ice cream truck, I believe, and Dave, I don't know if you know this or not, but I believe that might fall under the transient merchant.
Okay.
That's code, chapter 327, because that covers like door-to-door sales people and so on, so that type of thing might be fall in there. I don't think it's specifically identified as an ice cream truck.
How would we handle, for example, vendors at the farmer's market. No different. If we're in a food truck, so,
They don't need to have a permit.
okay.
I think it.
Yeah, for any public. Okay. So, yeah, so within the next week or so, if other ideas pop up and you want to get those to me, I'm happy to entertain those and see what we can get incorporated into.
Susan, did you see that the next one is also this number, 227-9, should be 228-9?
Okay.
Just so you got it.
Yeah, we've talked about combining 327 and 328, but decided to leave them separate, so I think that's probably. Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I move to adjourn the Building Zoning and Ordinance Committee. All those in favor? Aye. We are now adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Franzen. Next up is going to be our Protective Services Committee. And it's going to be chaired by our new trustee, trustee Durkee. And I know you didn't have the packet ahead of time, so.
I'll try to do my best, though.
We don't get, so lean on Rob and Susan if you need to, okay?
Okay.
All right, and me, of course.
All right. Thank you, President Jaramillo. I'd like to call to order the Protective Services Committee. It is trustee Lumens, Franzen, and myself, all present. I have to look at my phone as well. First is the discussion and possible action on request for authorization to hire a candidate for seasonal community service officer, a CSO position. So in response to ongoing complaints of illegal parking, loading in the downtown area, the police department proposed the hiring of 1 to 2 part-time community service officers, or CSOs, for the 2026 summer season. April 2026, the Protective Services Committee and Finance and Personnel Committee recommended the hiring of a CSO for the 2026 summer season. In June 2026, the village budget was amended, adding $8,000 for the hiring of 1 part-time CSO for the 2026 summer season. The budget has to remain about 2 months. With these approvals, Police Chief Justin Tim advertised the position, shortlisted and interviewed the most qualified candidates, and is presenting candidates, William Bay resident Derek Benitez. Derek is a Williams Bay graduate and is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in criminology at UW-Whitewater. Derek is also serving as a CSO for the Geneva Lake Law Enforcement Agency. Is there any discussion on this? Or
Well, so typically we'll make the motions first.
okay, motion. So I'd like to make a motion recommending authorization to hire candidate Derek Benitez for the part-time seasonal community service officer position. Is there any discussion?
I'll second that.
Second, yeah.
Second.
I need to ask the police officer, the chief, if they can elaborate a little bit on it.
I mean, that was very well said. I don't have.
It was
too much
Dave's
more.
sheet notes there. but-
I saw that. I was wondering, I just asked Jennifer, I'm like, where did that come from? That was very well said. No, we had the opportunity to interview 3 qualified candidates. Derek, local resident, came out on top. Really did an outstanding job. We're looking forward to getting him a part of the team. If this gets approved and continues to move forward, next steps is we will getting the background and getting it through that process, and then hopefully on the streets here soon. So I don't have, without knowing the entire background that we would have to be digging into, it's difficult for me to give a timeline for that. So we'll, I can say soon. That's probably the best I can say.
So just to be clear, he is not just for the police department as a community service officer, he also will be part-time helping out Allison with zoning and short-term rentals, enforcement and all that stuff, right?
That is correct, yep. And Allison and I have had multiple conversations. We work hand in hand on this and I believe she trusts my judgment when we were making this decision.
You and Allison work together on it. Right?
Yes.
That was what I was gonna say, is that it's bigger than just the parking,
Yeah.
so it's a broader position that we really need help with.
I agree.
So you got a first and a second.
So you could call the vote. All right, call the vote. All in favor?
All right,
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have the discussion and possible action on the application for Class B beer and Class B liquor license from SJA Liquor LLC, DBA Tide and Tavern. So this would be a motion recommending approval of Class B beer and Class B liquor application from SJA Liquor LLC, Tide and Tavern.
so is that your motion?
I get it.
That was the motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Motion.
And so for the audience, Tide and Tavern is the new restaurant that is going in.
Is there any discussion?
So I had a question on their application. Tina, I don't know if you can answer this. But one part, let's see, part B, question 4. Well,
Oh, no.
the one I found, okay, so the one I found says, have you ever had a liquor license or operating license in any state revoked or suspended? Both no and yes are X'd through, but then there's an initial by the yes.
Mhm.
So is that really, it's no when they were crossing out the yes?
Yes, that's
Okay. And then in one spot, it asks for the responsible server license, and it's not checked, but it's checked in another spot.
She does.
I mean, I saw that, but I just, trying to keep her.
Any more discussion?
Make the call.
All right, to the motion to approve, or
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, next we have discussion and possible action on an application for a temporary Class B retailer's license to sell wine for the Friends of Kishwaukee NPO for their KNC annual wine walk on September 26th, 2026 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Motion recommending approval of a temporary Class B retailer's license to sell wine for the Friends of Kishwaukee NPO for their KNC annual wine walk on September 26th, 2026 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Can I get a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
I need to abstain.
Yeah, she's on the board. She's in the kiss for you.
Okay. All right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that is approved. All right, next we have discussion and possible action on a temporary Class B retailer's license application for the Williams Bay Lions Club for Williams Bay Lions Club Corn and Brat Fest from August 7th through August 9th, 2026. And the motion recommending approval of a temporary Class B retailers license application from Williams Bay Lions Club for Williams Bay Lions Club Corn and Brat Fest August 7th through 9th, 2026.
Second, Franzen.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
I have a question for, Wally.
Well, sir.
So last year you had the fencing where the actually official entrance is, there are plenty of lions down there keeping track of people. But there were big holes in the fencing and people were just walking in and out and the non-official. So how are you gonna improve on that this year?
Well, the whole lakefront, there is no fencing. We just have signage up there. We
Well,
have
the,
people,
that orange, whatever you call it, safety netting. stuff.
yeah, orange fencing.
Right,
Are you talking on the
whole-
east?
Whole section that was missing, it was rolled up on the site, it was open. Last year.
Oh, yeah, it could be from, where are you talking about, Bob? Are you talking about the east side of the park where we bring our bands in and out?
No, it was past where the beer thing is sold and then a little bit past that.
I think he's talking about the area that you opened up to bring the band materials in.
Okay.
On Geneva Street.
So how do we make sure that when you open it up to get things in, to close it back?
Well, I will let my band members know, and I guess we'll have to police that a little better this year.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Police Chief Tim, do you have anything?
No, myself and the Lions Club, we have met. We're all set. I'm looking forward to another great event.
Yeah. Amen. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to abstain from this vote, but
Okay.
all in favor?
All right.
Abstain?
Oh.
All right, next, your Montana EMS monthly numbers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chief, this is your Financial Services Chair. We'll get him down to have a one-on-one with you soon.
Sounds good. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So the reports came out, just a couple of things to note as far as response times. So we started staffing the Williams Bay overnight quarters on June 12th. So that month was partially responding from Fontana at night and partially from Williams Bay. So for the July numbers, we should see those numbers coming down for the response times, getting under the goal of getting under that 6-minute mark. Right now we're about 6 minutes and 50 seconds. So that should come down for that. Call volume wise, about 53 calls in June, which is about 47% of the total calls. And staffing, the staffing was pretty good in June, so pretty much every day we had five on duty for full staffing with the additional daytime personnel. So any questions on any of the reports?
Yes, I saw for the first time, I think you added fire department calls to the report.
Yes, we added a column so you can see which calls are fire and which ones are EMS.
So is that the way we're gonna go forward, to have it all in one report, or do you have two different reports? One for
It was always in there, just didn't have it. I added a column so you can see which ones are in there. With the mutual aid response we're running with Williams Bay right now for the last several months, it'll be easier for you to see which ones are fire calls, which ones are EMS in the month.
Okay, thanks, that's good.
Chief, it seems like we had an extraordinary number of non-transport calls this month, in the month of June. Is there any particular reason behind that?
We did have a couple of places where we were repeatedly going to, so those were sent over in the reports at the beginning of the month for anybody that we have that is a kind of a repeat for a lift assist or that does not need transport. So that's probably the biggest thing. I know there was a couple of locations where we were at multiple times.
Yes, the board.
So we do address that through Health and Human Services and then also through the village.
I also thought there was an uptake on canceled calls that were canceled. And what do you do with that then, if you get them from the same location multiple times, let's say?
If we don't show up, if it's canceled, we don't show up, it's basically not considered a billable call or anything we do. So for the fire calls, if Williams Bay shows up and they have a full crew and they cancel us for that, that's part of it, is that if they get a crew out the door and they don't need us, then we turn around, we go back. For the EMS side, it's pretty uncommon for us to get canceled ahead of time. We had a call today where somebody was swatting at a bee in their car and their phone went out the window and
This is
Apple
emergency, right?
detected that as a crash. So they called us. So that's one that we were canceled. They called back and said, no, we were just throwing the phone out the window. And so that was one that we had, that was a canceled call. So that's a good example that we had today.
Chief, just one thing on, item 26-0419, looks like that was a Walworth, call that snuck into our report.
I'll take a look at that one.
And you said that the report next month will have the fire and the EMS separated?
It can if you want. Right now,
Or just a call?
we have a column so that the basic incident type is the basic, whether it's a medical call or if it's a fire call. If you want, I can separate those out so they're separated, but we just added another column so you can see which ones are fire, which ones are medical. So before they were all medical calls, so there wasn't really a need to add that primary call type. So we added it this last month just so you can see which ones are fire calls and which ones are medical. Obviously, we're still responding with Williams Bay on the fire calls. So like I said, if they get a full crew out,
I didn't see that column, so.
it's the one that's called incident primary, incident type primary.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
Next we have the Williams Bay Police Chief, Chief Town, for his monthly report. I appreciate that. I was kind of hoping you had something written for me too. So the couple things just want to make mention of. Bike patrol unit update. We have started that July 4th. To date, we've had 8 total deployments for just under 100 miles logged. Average miles per deployment is just about 12 and a half. And the average deployment time is about 2 hours. If you've seen him riding around, he's out in the community. He's talking to a lot of different people. He's had, like I said, with those about 25 different activities that were logged in, including 3 traffic stops. So, yeah, fantastic. As stated earlier, we're preparing for Corner Brock. We're getting into the thick of it now. Myself and the lieutenants have sat down on multiple occasions and went over some briefings just to get us ready and ready to go. Met with the Lions Club, had a really productive meeting with them, so very happy about that. And then Officer Carlton and Officer Kuroda should be back out on patrol, making us fully staffed by the end of the month. So very excited about that. Any questions? And then you guys have the numbers. I apologize. I did put them in front, so if you have any questions on them, please let me know.
So the only one on the CAT report is the one that is assist fire department. And all of a sudden it says 33 on there.
Yep, so that's a new one in the, so the county controls what gets put into the CAD. So if there's a new line item that you see came from the county because they run our CAD system. And so if we go to assist the fire department with something, or if we're there for an EMS call, similar scenarios, they then enter that in as the assisting the fire department.
Okay.
Any questions?
We get citations with.
There's
Okay, all right. You can get them started.
Yep. I did that. I had them too. Sorry. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right. To make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right. Adjourn.
Second.
Second. Yep. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is adjourned.
You are adjourned. All right. Thank you very much, Trustee Durkee and Trustee Evans for helping, and Trustee Francis. She's really helping with the packet, so thank you for that. Finally, we're gonna have the Finance and Personnel Committee, and this is gonna be Trustee Brett.
Thank you, President Ferromino. I call to order the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting this evening. Trustees Bartholomew, Lumens, and Rager present. Our first item on the agenda comes to us from the Sewer and Water Committee regarding the project to replace the sanitary sewer on Oakwood Street and along the lakefront. The proposal is for $1,533,33, something like that. It came to us from the Sewer and Water Committee unanimously approved, and I would entertain a motion to pass it on to the board with our approval.
I'll make that motion.
Discussion? Just note, as I did during the discussion with the Sewer and Water Committee, we will need to revise the CIP to adjust it accordingly, but we can do that. All those in favor of recommending board approval of the bid from Globe for the sewer replacement, say aye. 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 Opposed, no. I'll forward that to the board for action. Next item on our agenda is the environmental assessment of the village-owned property. That was tabled by the Streets and Highway Committee, so we won't take any action on that. Next item is discussion and possible action on authorization to hire a community service officer. Comes to us for Protective Services, the unanimous recommendation to hire a particular candidate. I would entertain a motion to recommend board approval.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. I'll forward that to board consideration in a few minutes. Then we come to a couple of presentations I have to make. The materials included in the board packet, and I certainly encourage any questions from other board members besides the committee. The first item is an update on the 2026 budget status. We're through 6 months of the year, and this report is based on the June financials. They haven't been signed off on yet, but I have the draft. It's largely complete. Some revenues not reported, especially the Ventec revenue from the lakefront. But essentially, this is based on June financials. Just to give some orientation to the report that's in the packet, we've got year-to-date actual, which would be year-to-date June. Year-to-date budget was the budget divided by 2, assumed a linear expenditure of funds. That's sometimes not appropriate, but it was the only way to get apples and apples that I could, short of spending hours trying to make seasonal adjustments. But anyway, walk through that, and the bottom line is, year-to-date, the end of June, we are in pretty good shape. We're somewhat overspent. We've spent somewhat over budget year-to-date, but revenue is more above budget than our expenses, and there's certainly some seasonal variances to come. Let me walk through some of the details. On the revenue side, we are at this point in time about $250,000 short on tax levy revenue. That is not unexpected and happens every year. Most people pay their taxes in January, and we record that revenue and enjoy the cash flow for many months. But $250,000 worth has been deferred to later in the year. The county collects that, remits it to us, and we expect to collect 100% of the property taxes that are due us. Women's Leadership Center payment in lieu of taxes is typically paid in the fourth quarter, and I'm sure it'll be paid. So the tax revenue line, we should, I'm confident will come out okay on. Second line on the revenue side is intergovernmental. For the most part, this is state money that comes to us and a variety of grants and awards and so on. We're still short on the state shared revenue. Sorry, I'll sit on my editorial comment. But we're short on state shared revenue, but most of that comes in the fourth quarter anyway. So we should end up the year largely on budget from intergovernmental revenues. Third line is licenses and permits. A little bit of concern here. We're about $78,000 year-to-date short on permit revenue. This is for the most part construction permits, building, electrical, plumbing, zoning, and some shortage on short-term rental permits. We'll see. The first part of the year, there's not a lot of permits pulled. We'll see where we are 3 months from now, but a little bit of concern about a shortage on permit revenue. We had, permit revenue was considerably higher last year, and we budgeted off that, and we may have budgeted our revenue, we'll see. On the other side, commercial revenue, we are over $200,000 ahead of budget. Most part, that's interest, and although some of that is, some of that's interest revenue. We're somewhat behind budget. We know it on our overspending on, what was overspend? It's on the expense line. We spent, the revenue has not come through from the Geneva Lake Law Enforcement Association yet, and we're still short somewhat on tower lease revenue. Again, those are relatively minor amounts, certainly more than offset by the interest income. And on the miscellaneous line, I always like to see that we're ahead of revenue level, $44,000 over budget on revenue. It comes from selling things. My professional comment here is, and we're ahead of the budget in terms of selling things. Most of that was sold last year, but we didn't realize the revenue until this year. So bottom line, we're on the revenue side, we're $362,000 ahead of budget. On the revenue side, again, some seasonal variances to come. On the expense side, we are on the general government side, which is the biggest chunk of our budget, is basically pays for administration. We're $90,000 overspent, almost $91,000 overspent year to date. You know, one that I have some concern with, and we're going to have to figure out what to do with this. We are universally across the board over budget on our IT expenses, both software as well as service in terms of that. So we need to probably take a serious look at that as we budget for next year, and two, as we consider our IT services. We're over budget on the expense side of audit. We knew that coming into this year because of the complications of last year's, the audit from last year's expenses. And we're also over budget on insurance. Not a lot we can do with that, and we're probably, other than the try and budget for it better next year. I got a note there that says we're underspent on WBBA payments. They get a portion of our room tax that was paid in July. So that's just a timing issue for the most part. Public safety, police, fire, etc. We are almost $154,000 overspent year to date. $25,000 of that was a commitment we made to the Geneva Lake Law Enforcement Association when the city of Lake Geneva pulled out. We're also somewhat, it's not a large percentage, but dollar-wise in terms of police wages and benefits. I'm sure the chief will keep an eye on overtime as we go through the year. Public safety inspections, we are $93,000 underspent year to date on inspections. As you all know, the village keeps 80%, or we pay out 80%, I should say, of our inspection revenue to the inspectors. And because our inspection revenue is short, is behind budget, then our inspection expenses would be behind budget as well. So we're underspent on most of the inspections. Public Works is $59,000 overspent year to date. A lot of that has to do with the weather, both the snow during the winter as well as storm cleanup that factors into their wages, and particularly overtime wages. Leisure activities, for the most part, Parks and Rec and Lakefront, $61,000 underspent year to date. We're over somewhat on pier installations and repairs, but that'll be transferred from reserves. And we're somewhat underspent. Again, this is a seasonal issue on lakefront wages. Then finally, other, we're a whopping $691 overspent on other expenses. For the most part, that's bank fees that we've incurred for a variety of transactions. So spending, total spending, we are $148,605 underspent on budget, and our net year to date is almost $214,000 to the good and our budget status year to date. So, any questions?
Yeah, the IT you mentioned in particular, could that be due to the fact that you have the new building and you had to invest?
No, it's,
Refitting this building too?
for the most part, it's licenses, IT licenses and IT service. They continue to be more expensive, and we didn't budget enough for them. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you, this is
Good
really
for putting
good.
that together.
Yeah,
Great
this is
information.
Great, you answered a lot of questions.
Well, thank you, Jennifer and Dave, for helping out with that.
Thanks for being on.
You'll, as we go through the budget process, you'll see a much more detailed line item analysis of where we are. The budget spreadsheets that we'll be budgeting from, it'll literally take every line item and show prior 2 years, year to date, projected year to date, and then we budget off of that. So if you have more detailed questions, that information is available as well. Next item is budget schedule. I can't believe it's the time of year already. It seems like we just finished. Anyway, the budget timeline was published for committee consideration and for board information. Probably the most important thing is coming up next week. We're trying to schedule a committee meeting to do a number of important kickoff kinds of things. But any comments on the draft budget or budget schedule?
Last year, so.
It's very similar to last year's. And then finally, presentation discussion on long-term financial status projections. One of the things I've been trying to do is do a projection, do an analysis of where we stand financially across the next 5 years. So included in your packet is a spreadsheet of revenues and expenses projected out through 2030. I tried to identify the assumptions that were in there, but let me just kind of walk you through that. You know, we do it for a couple of things. One, it's a perspective on as we go into budgeting, and two, it's an anticipation of the likelihood, the necessity of doing a referendum to increase levies sometime next year. I should say sometime in the spring of next year. As you'll see, there's two draft line items there for referendum income starting, but they're just draft numbers. We obviously need to work on that. But anyhow, let me not get ahead of myself and kind of walk you through the projections. Bottom line, let me start with the bottom line, I guess, that we're okay this year. Obviously, we're over halfway through this year. We're okay next year. And in terms of the way the budgets, the projections stand right now, $165,000 to the good going into next year based on a whole pile of assumptions. It's the following years when we would need relief on the property tax levy. But anyhow, let me walk you through some of the details. Assuming a 1% increase in our levy limits, which is probably optimistic. The assessor was here for the board review meeting, and we're likely to get well under 1% increase in levy. But this spreadsheet assumes a 1% increase in the allowable increase in the levy and a 3% increase in our fees from year to year. Those are, for the most part, lakefront and permit fees. Room tax revenue. This line item is the 30% that the village can keep. The village keeps 30% of the room tax revenue. 70% of that has to be invested in tourism and tourism-related activities. The key element in that line is that assumes that the reserve opens to some business in 2028. They are, for the most part, our sole increase, but certainly our largest contributor to room tax. So that is something we'll have to keep an eye on in terms of the impact on our finances. The TID, the village can keep 10% of the TID revenue. We have TID 1 active at the moment, and there's a line item there that assumes that we collect some revenue from that, and the revenue's there. Then I had to wrestle with what to do with our referendum income. The referendum, the EMS referendum of 2022 provided a roughly $900,000 increase in levies at a fixed amount. And for the first year or two of that, we spent less than we collected. Next year, in 2027, we will have exhausted that revenue. So I showed the line item there that referendum income is the referendum income continues in perpetuity, 928,077. But the balance, we will exhaust that revenue, or exhaust the balance in that fund in 2027. So it shows our total known revenue there, projected out across 2030. And then I add to that some extraordinary, some unknown, somewhat predictable, but at this point unknown revenue. Show two referendum line items there. One is a continuation of to support our EMS services, and then an amount to support the increased expenses as we expand fire department services, particularly as we move from 3A to 3B in terms of the amount of money that costs us. Fire building renovation, that will be done with borrowed funds, so it has no budget impact except for debt service. The room tax revenue for tourism is the other 70% of the line item that's up above. So that totals, you see there, the possible extra revenue and totals to possible total revenue across between now and 2030. Any questions on the revenue side?
Yeah,
Please.
so this was just an observation.
Okay, please.
So on the room tax for 2030, you got the 30% that we can keep, $300,000.
No, that's the 30,000 that shows, that is $300,000 in room tax revenue. We keep 100.
You said about 2030.
No,
2030.
Or 2030, I'm sorry.
2030. Okay, but in 29, you have 150,000,
Right.
you don't get the full $1 million.
Right. I'm assuming some ramp up in room tax revenue.
Yeah, but then on there below it here, room tax revenue for tourism, that's where just the $700,000 would be the full amount for the tourism.
Correct.
The 350 would be 50%. So if you don't expect in 2029, 15%, you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob. Spreadsheets don't correct. Don't correct thinking here.
No,
I don't know how many hours I spent looking at the spreadsheet trying to figure out how to make sense
no,
out of it.
please, two eyes are better than one, okay?
Thank you. Then on the expense side, general government operations is for the most part our village budget, levy supported, assumes a 3% increase in expenses overall, total of 3% increase in between 26 and 27, and then 5% increase per year after that. 3% is incredibly optimistic. We already have our insurance increases for next year, and it's going on 20%. It's only doesn't 20% of that line item, but still, we're going to have to work to make a 3% to hold it down to 3% increase. But anyhow, that's the assumption that's there is 3% between 26 and 27, and 5% per year after that. EMS, the current referendum shows the expense that'll attach to that. And fire department increment, again, comes from the Fontana proposal. Shows the general operation expenses. Tourism revenue should be an offset to some of the revenue that showed up above. I had optimistically put an internal revolving fund in there. When I first joined the board, we self-funded a capital expense fund, which we since have spent, and now borrow money to do that. But I had optimistically put a line in there that says, we're going to contribute to that fund at some point in time. It'd be nice if we could, and we will if we can. So anyhow, the balance comes down to a $10,000 surplus this year, $165,000 surplus next year. And assuming a referendum of some sort, as a matter of fact, of the budgets that I put in here, $575,000 a year, that'd be probably more than that. But if assuming those passes, well, then we show surpluses for each of the remaining years to 2030. I added a line there at the bottom of the page that says if the 2027 referendum fails, we show $311,000, $439,000, and $506,000 deficits. So that gives you some sense of the magnitude of the changes that would be required if the referendum isn't successful. Anyway.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for putting that together. I know you've been doing this a long time and you bring all of that expertise to it.
No, it's anyhow, thank you. I don't know how many drafts of the spreadsheet there were, but anyhow, that's the current one. Anyhow, we'll continue, obviously, as a committee to work on that. And the committee and staff will be coming forward with a recommendation on a referendum that will be on the ballot proposed to be on the ballot in February. We won't realize the revenue from that until 2028, but February is the only time we can have a referendum initiative next year. So we'll be working on that. Any other questions? No. With that, I'll attend. I'm sorry.
Other than the referendum, are there other things that we as a board should be thinking about to keep that long-term plan viable?
Just the balance that we've been working on is the balance between what do we pay out of operating, what's a capital expense. Obviously, the debt service isn't factored into any of those, but it is an issue that rolls back to the taxpayers as well. But other than that, I think just fiscal discipline. We can't do everything we'd like to do. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. We're done, President Jeremy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trustee Wright. And now we'll go back to the Village Board Committee of the Whole to act on possible action matters discussed in committee. We have a number of motions from committee that we need to act on that do not require seconds. The first is we had a recommendation motion from Water and Sewer, and then approval from Finance and Personnel. So the motion is to approve the bids for sanitary sewer replacement on Oakwood Street and Orchard Street. Project includes replacement of sanitary sewer at 2 locations: Oakwood Street from Center Street south to mid-block, and then west through existing easements to Orchard Street, and the lift station 4 gravity sewer along the lakefront from just north of Gage Marine to Bay Shore Villas. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the bid? Wait, are we approving this bid? No, that wasn't the motion from committee, was it? It was. We did make it? The discussion was.
I made it for finance and we made it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries. Next, we have a motion from the Water and Sewer Committee to approve the increase of village sewer connection fees for new homes from $5,100 to $5,610. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries. Item 3 was tabled by the Streets and Highways Committee. Item 4 was recommended by Protective Services, and then a motion to approve by Finance and Personnel to approve the request for authorization to hire a seasonal community service officer. Any discussion on the motion to approve the CSO position?
We're
hiring, I'm sorry, we're hiring, and it's subject to a background test, which will be done after the approval, sorry, I mean, it's not, we already established the position, you're right. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That motion carries. Next, we have a motion recommending approval of a temporary Class B retailer's license application from the Williams Bay Lions Club for the Corn and Broth Fest, August 7th through August 9th from the Protective Services Committee. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. We have one abstention from trustee Durkee, who I understand is on the board of the Lions Club at the time, so, and is first vice president, so, yeah, it's a fair. All right, that motion carries. Next up, we have a motion from Protective Services Committee to approve the application for a Class B beer and Class B liquor license from SJA Liquor LLC, doing business as Tide and Tavern. Is there any discussion on the motion? Questions? Nope. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, that motion carries. That concludes this section of the agenda. So Chair will look for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
First from trustee Wright, second from trustee Umans. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
You gotta park the way there. Your four-way stop, you gotta park the way.
Hi, do you mind signing our piece of paper? Thank you.
You're a real trooper.
Yeah, you guys.